All right, in this video, I'm gonna show you exactly how I made roughly $4,000 with $800 worth of risk. This is from the May 2nd session. I'm gonna walk you guys through my pre-market plan real quick, and then I'm gonna show you the live session. If you guys ever wanna see my live sessions, just come over here, go to my channel playlists, and you will see the live sessions recordings. If you want to be there live, you have to join my Discord. I drop the link every day in my Discord. I am not putting my live sessions public anymore, so that's what you have to do if you want to join. All right, so for my pre-market plan, this is Sierra chart. This is the 1 minute, but I created my plan around like 7 a.m. so before this huge candle happened. Initially, my plan was to watch for a break above 654 to turn into support, to target 667 first, and then I would look for a further out target, which there is not much resistance up there according to my volume profile. And then to the downside, I wanted to see price break 624 to play shorts to 600, the whole number, first target. Data at 7:30, and you can see my plan was pretty much obliterated right after this happened. So I had to create a whole new plan for the session. And really what I decided to do was take this high volume area that you probably can't see as well anymore. I actually changed it from a line, so it's from right here, and you can see this spike in volume at the top. This would just act as resistance potentially. So what I really wanted to see was, now that we had broken above that before the session opened, I wanted to see, is price going to create support around this area? The green box is the session open, so you can see that that happened. And my plan, what I adjusted my plan to was to see what would happen around this 666 to 672 or 669 area. That was my level of interest for the day. So obviously you can see my executions already, but I'm gonna minimize that. We're gonna go to the live session. I'm gonna put myself right here, and you can see above me, this is my live face cam. So at this very moment, what I was looking for was, since we sold off below this 666 level and then immediately returned right back above it, and this was a low volume area that I marked out on this sell-off, you can see that price actually spent like a few minutes in there. So now my plan has adjusted, and this is essentially the same exact setup that I took yesterday, 2 different times. So you have this super aggressive activity from sellers, a low volume node gets created. We come up into that low volume area and it did not reject it. It spent a little bit of time here. You can see some buying came in right there too. So at this very moment, the next level of interest for me is, where was the value, where was the lower portion of the value built? So you can see, you can barely see it, but right here, it kind of starts at like 72. And essentially I would call it down to like even the 67s. But I tell my stream and I say, all right, at this moment, I'm looking for a hold of this 72 area to potentially spot buyers to play long, targeting up to 88 first, and then beyond that, I liked the whole number of 6,700. So you can see here, price comes right down into there, and just try to ignore those 2 blue lines because I didn't remove them. Those were where the low volume area was, but since that was disrespected, like I already said, I want to see this value area hold as support at this moment. So if we break below 68, I can tell you that my plan is most likely wrong, maybe even call it 67, or even down here to 66 possibly. I don't know. Like, my line in the sand was really like, I did not want to see these lower end. I didn't want to see this lower end of this little volume area get transacted. So what I was looking for was aggressive participation in this area. And the first sign I see it, which is like right there, you can see the CVD turn around just a little bit. Right when I seen it first, I entered the trade, and my stop loss was a full 4 points as always. So that was at like 67.75. That would pretty much invalidate the trade after this happens right here. So obviously I get a pretty good price on it at 71.75. You can see my position at the top left of the screen here. And essentially after this, it's all about me managing the trade. So I remember there was some resistance at 78 first, and you can see we get up to it and we have some trouble off rip. And then we had a little bit more resistance, I believe at 8.4 or possibly up to 8.8. I can't remember exactly, but essentially just aware of on the profile where value was transacted. So up to this 88, there was a little spike. It's kind of like a high volume area. So a lot of transactions occurred there. I was expecting it to act as resistance. It kind of did the first time. You can see we blasted through it. And another thing I'll note real quick, I have to go back just a little bit. When we talk about green flags and red flags in the trade, look at this selling you're about to see come in. Look at the CVD. And there's a huge amount of aggressive selling that completely fails to move price. That was a huge green flag in this trade. And you can see my live, I spotted that in the moment, and I'm telling the viewers like, hey, look at this crazy amount of selling. This is very divergent, and this would signal higher prices. So as soon as we get that aggressive push, after that happens, I take one contract off at roughly 87 or 88. My goal is to get the first one off at 88, so it worked out. At this moment, what I wanted to see was this lower volume area hold. I think it was down to 77 or some shit. At this moment, what I really wanted to see was a hold of this area down to like 78, and you can see it on the chart volume profile. If I go back a little bit, it was a little more clear whenever my Sierra wasn't in the way, but you can see if we transacted down to the 77s and into here again, that would be invalidating my trade. I did not move my stop loss there, but that would be an invalidation of my trade. So I told my chat once again, like, hey, if we get a pullback, I'm expecting it to hold this like 77 area, really just the top of this value. And you can see this little gap, or not gap, you can see this low volume area on the chart volume profile. If we traded back under here into this 77.50, it was no good for me. So of course that worked out. It held exactly where I wanted to see it hold. And at this point, I'm targeting 5,700 for my last contracts. There was a lot of orders up there. In short, what I was waiting for was an aggressive push. If you guys are not new here, you know what I'm talking about, just like a spike in volume and a spike in delta. And that is what I love exiting my positions on. So you can see, looking at the CVD right here, there's not really any crazy activity that's happened in the last like 15 or 10 minutes, right? The CVD is flat. We're moving up, yes, but it's like we're slowly grinding up. What I'm really waiting for is I'm waiting for that spike in volume I'm waiting for that spike of aggression. I'm waiting for a capitulatory, if you want to call it that, type of move. And that's what I'm going to exit on. That's my plan in this moment. But you can see, looking at the CVD, look at this activity right here. Once again, it looked like some selling came in, and immediately right after that, you get that spike in buying volume. And I could have held for like a few extra points for sure, but that's what I was planning to get out on. I was planning on waiting for this spike, and you're going to see me get out as soon as I see it. So that was how I managed the trade today. And by the way, I'm trading two 50K accounts. So I only have $2,000 worth of drawdown on these accounts. And I'm definitely risking a high amount of my drawdown. Like, I'm risking 400 per trade on a $2,000 drawdown. I decided that is actually more worth it to me than buying a 50K or buying a 150K account and, taking it kind of slow. Like, I figured if I can trade properly, then I'm going to buy these 50Ks. I'm going to not really over risk unless you're completely uncomfortable with losing 50 bucks, but essentially that's my plan. I'm trying to pass these things quicker. I'm trying to, size up and take good trades, of course, but I'm risking 400 a trade. So yeah, today was a good day. I had 2,000 on each account. That means I'm roughly $500 away from passing 250K evals with Top Step. I'm not even going to think about it. I'm just going to keep taking good entries. This volume profile stuff for me has been like truly game changing. Like, when I tell you guys, it has given me confidence in levels and just my overall read on the market. Like, I'm telling you guys, I regret not getting into volume profiles and levels at the beginning of my trading. And I regret not having Sierra, not even just for the profiles and the order flow stuff, but like the execution on Sierra, I'm like in love with it. So I'm still using Bookmap for all my like reads. I'm just pairing everything together. I'm really just taking levels from the profile and Sierra, and I'm watching the activity at those levels kind of in like a zoomed in fashion by using Bookmap. And I have a footprint, but I don't really use the footprint too much right now. But, you know, that's pretty much the gist of what I do if you're new here. So I appreciate you guys watching the video. If you want to see my live streams, you just got to join the Discord. I drop a link every morning. If you guys want more of these videos, give me a subscribe, give me a like, comment if you took any trades, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.